me tell you about this idea. I'm not going to tell you if the coronavirus is real or not, and I'm not going to ask you to agree with the lockdown or oppose it. I just want you to consider for a moment that the information we receive might be manipulated and not all true. I know media well. I've been working in mainstream media at the highest level for many years, and I know what we're seeing now in the mainstream narrative is nothing but a campaign.
If you want to get to pre-coronavirus, that might not ever happen.
COVID-19 will be here for the next 18 months or more. We will not be able to return to normalcy.
We're never going to be the same again. The fear that we have, the anxiety that we have, that's not just going to go away. I don't think we get back to normal. We get to a new normal.
I know you think you can't be easily tricked, but trust me, you already have been. We all have this inner voice, the child that can spot the bullshit. But that intuitive voice is suppressed by the mass manipulation of the media machine, making you doubt your intuition in favour of the opinion of those faceless experts, and fabricated statistics reshaping your perception of reality and in turn controlling your behaviour. We all feel something is off here. There are too many inconsistencies with this pandemic. The media coverage has been exposed more than ever with the calculated fear-mongering tactics, and a lot of it doesn't make sense. But then you pinch yourself and say, nah, why would they do that? What would they benefit? What I am about to show you now is the holy grail of information on their plan, and what's in store for us in the next decade or so. Start by going to the World Economic Forum website and search for strategic intelligence. You will need to sign up with your email to view all the information hidden. This is one of the most complex mapping systems I have ever seen. In the heart of it is COVID-19. Linked to it, categories showing how to deal with the pandemic. Let's start with the government response to COVID. Once you click on it, the tentacles are highlighted to link the subcategories of how COVID affects all aspects of life, from global governance to civic participation, justice, and law. But it doesn't end here. This is only the first layer. Once you click on one of the subcategories, it goes through another level. Here we have civic participation. Around it, responding to shifts in power and inventing new modes of governance. When you click on any one of these categories, in the side screen you'll have a page that shows all publications related to this specific topic, as well as videos and other data. The type of articles in there is all approved propaganda, and we have started to hear it in the media already. Topics like, how will coronavirus reshape democracy and governance globally? How can digital ID and payment improve state capacity? QAnon conspiracy theorist, and my absolute favourite, social media companies are taking steps to stamp down on corona misinformation, but they could do more. The list is endless. There are at least over 200 layers to this map, and you cannot imagine how far and deep the topics get. Things like 5G, aging, how to change young people's outlook on aging, and how to systemically change values and culture. Other topics include vaccinations, tracking, microchips, and tracing, and there's a lot about agile governance and surveillance, and it starts getting darker when you dive in. AI, world government, and biotechnology. I could go on for hours, but I will leave it up to you to go through and witness the horror of the technocratic world that awaits us unless we decide to wake up and pay attention now. I think when we get to the point of house arrest, it's already too late. You are probably asking yourself, why would they put their plan right there hidden in plain sight? I want you to consider this thought. In life, everything has a positive and a negative. The sword can be used to save a life, as well as take one. The information they present here is sold to the public on the basis of the minor positive they may hold. However, what manifests in reality is always the hidden sinister negatives. Each of those will sell you a lie, a trick to make you believe that it would be for the betterment of mankind. However, the proof is all around us. War, diseases, poverty, and it's getting worse. While the people are fearful and distracted, governments around the world have passed numerous laws under the current emergency statutes. I won't get into the details of all these attacks on civil liberties. That's for you to research. But one stands out for me more than most, and that is freedom of speech. Censorship has become a real problem to our societies, and it's all around us. We are bombarded with a one-dimensional narrative that echoes on all media platforms. If you say it enough times, they will believe it. They give us the illusion of choice by creating all these different outlets with different logos and different charming faces, but it all leads up to the same people at the top. The internet until recently was the only space left for the truth to exist, but now this is being censored more aggressively than ever, and a new concept is created: misinformation.
We're taking a more proactive role in making sure that all of our partners and developers use our services for good. We're very focused on making sure that our recommendations and discovery surfaces aren't highlighting groups where people are repeatedly sharing misinformation or harmful content, and we're working hard to completely remove groups.
Facebook is now being used to organize a lot of these protests to defy social distancing.
We do classify that as harmful misinformation, and we take that down.
Misinformation. As if it's the new terrorism. They convince the public that any information different than their experts could cause danger to us all. However belittling and degrading this notion is for the masses.
We aren't pressured to test for flu, but ER doctors now, my friends that I talk to say, it's interesting, when I'm writing up my death report, I'm being pressured to add COVID. Why is that? Why are we being pressured to add COVID? To maybe increase the numbers and make it look a little bit worse than it is? I think so.
Last night, the doctor's video, the one you just saw, was pulled off of YouTube. The only justification for taking it down was that the two physicians on screen had reached different conclusions from the people currently in charge. YouTube and its parent company, Google, have now officially banned dissent. The CEO of YouTube admitted that openly.
But then we also talk about removing information that is problematic. Of course, anything that is medically unsubstantiated, so people saying like, take vitamin C, take turmeric, like those all will cure you. Those are the examples of things that would be a violation of our policy. Anything that would go against World Health Organization recommendations would be a violation of our policy. And so remove is another really important part.
The biggest example is the recent changes to YouTube and other social media platforms following London's Real, Brian Rose and David Icke interview about the coronavirus pandemic. An interview that was taken down by YouTube despite its popularity and millions of hits on the streaming figures. It even leads to changes in broadcast laws by the British broadcast government body, Ofcom.
And if you read the tone of the article, the BBC is implying that they forced YouTube to take down our live stream yesterday with David Icke that went deep into coronavirus, COVID-19, the relationship of that to 5G technology, to vaccines, to the lockdown, to the economic crisis, and to seizing your human rights, whether it could be your location, your data, and even your right to earn an income. And that's what we talked about yesterday. It was the second largest live stream on YouTube worldwide yesterday. Why is he such a danger to the billions of people around the world? Why is Ofcom here in the UK sanctioning radio stations for talking about any relationship with 5G and coronavirus? We can't even talk about it. Does this sound familiar? Like George Orwell? Like a Nazi state? Does this sound familiar to anybody?
And it's this self-deluded arrogance which goes like this. I am right, therefore anyone who says something different must therefore be wrong, and by definition, because they are wrong and I am right, their freedom of speech to be wrong doesn't need to be taken into account. That's how the mentality goes. What I say is, I don't agree with them, I don't agree with them, I don't agree with them. I do agree with them, but I don't want to silence any of them.
All this because an old man was giving his opinion on what is going on. He was not inciting hatred, but the opposite. Yet David, Brian, and many others have faced the wrath of the mainstream media and the tech giants like Google, LinkedIn, and YouTube. What I am about to suggest has become necessary to combat this complex globalist propaganda machine. Their war relies mainly on the control and manipulation of information. But there is something we can do. We have the structure of their highly effective plan. We use the same model against them and in favour of telling the truth. Just like their complex map that we've seen earlier, we will set up the same project, but only the masses and whistleblowers to populate. The Mirror Project. Think of it as a more targeted WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks is an amazing concept and has been groundbreaking in exposing truths that would have never come to light. However, that process can be random, and to be more effective in the information war, we must target the right areas and expose them at the right times. Therefore, it is important to understand the structure of their plan and consolidate it into one platform. For example, just like the World Economic Forum map, we have the exact same categories, but instead of the articles being filled with government-approved propaganda, the content will be populated anonymously by the people. It will have a section for articles, studies, statistics, and documents to do with each specific topic. In the below section there will be a video channel, where videos, documentaries, lectures, talks, and interviews will be available, content that most of it would be banned on the current platforms like YouTube. And finally, there will be a whistleblower secured section for whistleblowers from around the world to upload their documents related to that specific issue. And this way, we open the fight to everyone, whether you work in a hospital, for a city council, a tech company, a government body, anyone witnessing something that's not right and they want to leak it, and they can go to that topic on the Mirror Project platform, or MP22 for short, and upload anonymously. Think of MP22 as a search engine with YouTube and WikiLeaks all in one platform linked to one map. The problem we face right now is the fragmentation of information and sources when it comes to trying to expose corruption, propaganda, and human rights violations, which blurs the big picture. Add to that the insane censorship on all platforms, which renders us unable to present any other point of view other than the mainstream narrative. With the Mirror Project, we can centralize and consolidate all these sources in one place in order for real-life action to take place in an effective manner. Another issue is the term conspiracy theorist. Which manages to discredit a lot of legitimate issues, at times issues that hold more facts to it than the official version. However, the mainstream media has been very successful in mocking those theories by associating them with individuals, that, to be frank, just look batshit crazy, giving the impression that anyone that believes in any alternative theory or even questions the main story is that crazy guy wearing a plastic bag on his head and shouting at pigeons in the street. By having all of the anti-propaganda material in one place, protected from censorship, this allows for the public to research themselves to make up their own mind. This is a huge undertaking, and it will be very expensive, and it will have to rely on donations and remain objective and non-compromised. Be under no illusion, this is a massive task and will be resisted and fought all the way. Look what happened to Julian Assange. I have shown you what's waiting for us. I don't want to end with an inspirational quote from history about how it is our duty to fight for freedom, but seriously, have a look at their map and ask yourself, do you want to be aging in that society? And how would you look your children in the eye when they ask what you were doing? Have some shame, and at least spread the word. Spread the word.